Hi, this is Matt from Prestige Quoting, and in this video we'll be having a look at a snapshot of some of the key QuoteWerks functionality. Now, we're really not going to be going into very much detail here at all. It really is designed just to give you an indication as to how QuoteWerks, with the integration with Autotask, could help your business. Now, to make things simple, I've got a bit of a here's one I've done earlier, so we can pre-build quote templates that might have items, services with options. So here we can see I'm quoting for an i5 or an i7 Surface Pro 4, a couple of options, some recurring services, and then some on-site engineer time. What we're looking at here is very much our internal view to QuoteWerks. So we're going to have things like part numbers, cost price, margin, that of course we don't want the client to be seeing. I can set items as being recurring. I can present items as radio buttons, where I'm asking the client to make a choice, or as checkbox type options for things like accessories. If I go into my contact details and pull through one of my contacts from Autotask, so there's no duplication of data, this is a completely live link, I'm now able to save the document and write some information back to Autotask. So QuoteWerks would give it the next available reference number, it gives it a title, and I've asked it to create a new opportunity in Autotask. So here I can set things like the projected close date, the probability, what stage or status we're at, and who the owner of the opportunity is. It's also possible for me to link this quote in QuoteWerks to a pre-existing opportunity in Autotask if it existed. So at this point it's now creating the opportunity, and as part of this process it will create line items in Autotask. So if I now hop over into Autotask and refresh this screen to see this new opportunity that I've created, we can now see that we've got the profit, we've got some attachments that have automatically been included, so status updates, and if I were to go and look at the line items themselves, we can identify that items have pulled across, those that are monthly appear, and those that are created one time also appear, so we get that split out. Now QuoteWerks is able to produce a very nice PDF, but also what we can do is present the quote online. So I'm going to ask QuoteWerks to upload this information. At this point it's taking all of the line items, it's taking all of the client information, it's uploading a copy of the PDF, and it will produce something that looks a little like this. So with an appropriately sized heading, of course that should fit the full width, but we can come down, you can see how easy it is for a client to make product changes based upon the options that we want them to allow, and this in turn would automatically update our totals. From any web-enabled device, they would then be able to accept the quote, and this, as well as alerting the person that generated the quote, it could also automatically alert people in procurement, for example, that a new quote has been accepted. If I deliver quotes online, if we think about Google Analytics and knowing which sites have been viewed, etc., we have exactly the same with your quotes. So on the right-hand side here, you can see that I've uploaded a document a couple of times and the client has viewed it twice. This really gives a very valuable insight into what your clients are or are not doing with your quotes. We have automation for rules along the lines of if a quote has not been reviewed, maybe 2 days after the quote has been delivered, that can either alert you or alert the client that they need to be looking at that quote. If you're setting a quote validity period, if the quote has yet to be accepted and we're coming up to say a day or two before that expiration date, again, QuoteWerks can automatically alert you or the client to the fact their quote is expiring in a couple of days. We have integration with Utilize, which is a cloud product database and allows me to search for items I'd typically be buying from my distributors. So here you can see I've done a very, very broad search simply by using the word EliteBook. I've then filtered that down into a couple of categories, and I could even drill into product family or processor type or screen size to filter that down further. We have integration with a number of the UK distributors, West Coast, Ingram Micro, Computer 2000 or Tech Data, North Amber and EET. And what this does, it allows me to pull through technical, marketing descriptions images, and also reach out to the channel for pricing and availability. So typically the one I've chosen has no stock available, but we can see that if we did, Ingram Micro would be cheaper by almost £130. We also have the ability to dive into accessories for that specific product. So if I had things like a docking station, it would be able to identify the appropriate docking station for that item, and again, which distributors might stock that particular product. Another example might be if I were to quote a printer, it would know the appropriate toner cartridges that I might also want to put on the quote, maybe as selectable options for the client. The final thing I'd like to briefly mention is the concept of internal quote approval. And this is where you can set thresholds, maybe for new or less experienced members of the team, that if their quote is maybe over a certain value or under a certain margin percentage, before that quote can be presented to the client, it's actually got to be signed off by someone else in the business. So compared to tools like Word or Excel, which don't have that process at all, QuoteWerks will allow you to bring those processes into your business structure. As I mentioned, that really was an absolute crash course into QuoteWerks with a bit of Autotask integration. If you have any questions, do get in touch.